Here's part 3. Alright, so I've got it off. Here's the PCV valve. So it's two-way. It's got one that goes to the intake runners, like just there, and it's obviously connected up to my catch can because that was the first thing that I thought it was. So it sits like that. And then this one here, I've got the insert out. That goes, so it sits on there, and there's a shit ton of oil in there, but that goes down through a pipe and then into the front of the intake of the turbo. So we got oil going over it. So I may have just broken that, but that's alright. I was gonna, just for diagnosis purposes, I could use a smoke machine and shit to sort this out, but I haven't got one yet. So to start with, we'll rip this off in that piece, and then we'll just go a hose in between with my catch can. We'll see how much it fills up, see if it stops dumping oil into the intercooler, because it's the easiest thing to do besides unbolting the turbo and checking the seals on the turbo. So we'll start with this, see how we go. Like there's a decent amount of oil.
Oh really?
So this check ball here is what controls the air coming through, or oil in this case. I'm gonna take a stab in the dark and say it's not operating how it should. I can blow through it. It doesn't seal, whereas this one here does. So this one doesn't. So I'm gonna guess that, I'm hoping that that's all it is. Cheap and easy to fix instead of a new turbo. Yeah. We will make up a little bit of hose and a catch can set up in between this side now, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so got the turbo off. Everything down there. That was a prick of a job. So far, conclusion is I separated the shroud, or the core, whatever you want to call it, from the compressor housing. I had a look in there. Everything looked fine, so I don't think it's a turbo that's blowing oil into the intercooler piping and then into the intake and shit. So I think the turbo's good. There's bugger all play. There was like no oil, well, almost no oil on the compressor housing, on the compressor wheel, sorry. It was all clean in there besides that head drain that goes in there. So I'm very certain that my PCV valve is rooted.
What did you say?
So this is the intake side, goes into the intake runners, or intake manifold. And this side here goes down through a pipe and into the front of the turbo housing. So it has a lot of oil in it when you pull it off, and it had oil in the pipe when I pulled the pipe off too. God, this is impossible with one hand. Like, just got oil in there a fair bit too.
Say that again and I'll pop you in the chops.
There was more. So I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say this is it, or it's valves. Not 100% yet. I have done, as I said, I've done a compression test, all that come back fine. So we'll chuck turbo back in, bolt everything back up, and then we'll do a catch can in between the rear breather, so that one. We'll do a catch can, so in between it, so that it catches any oil that's going through. And we'll clean out the intercooler and the piping thoroughly, just so we can get an idea of if it's not just residue that's been in the intercooler since we bought the car, because it's slowly getting less and less, but sometimes when I empty it there is more filling back up. So I'm hoping that's it and it's not internals. So yeah, we'll get to that, put it all back together, wait for the new coil packs to arrive, clean out all the intercooler piping, get it all nice and clean, catch can in between that, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see if the intercooler fills up or the catch can fills up first, and then we know, because these aren't cheap. You can get cheap ones, under 100 I think, but from what I've read, you don't want the cheap ones. These check balls here, they out real quick on the cheap ones, and sometimes they don't even seal around here, so it's like a $200 part to get the OEM. So we'll just want to make sure first. If I had a smoke tester, I'd run some smoke through it and see if it was leaking out of here as well. But I don't. We'll be getting one soon. Might get one to test that if we still can't figure out what's going on. So yeah, one thing at a time. We'll chuck this back in. It all checks out good. So there's bugger all oil, like wet oil on the back of the turbine, so turbine wheel. It's all dry, so I'm thinking it's combusting in the engine first, so it's going through intercooler, and then yeah, burning straight out through the exhaust ports and then out through here. Because if it was, let's say the rear seal was leaking, you'd see wet oil here. Well, most of the time you would anyway. And it was all dry. It's all dry inside the rear housing as well. So I think the turbo's fine. Yeah, let's get to it. So I like to wear gloves when I work on cars. This is one of them cars that, good luck, everything is either an Allen key or a Torx bit, and if you want to try and get any of the bolts in, gloves on just does not work. I only like to wear gloves because I've got lots of hand injuries, a few scars and whatnot. Can't bend some of my fingers properly, but
Good one.
I just try to keep my hands as best as possible now. So I never used to wear gloves at all. Always picking out metal splinters and but now I try it. But yeah, with one of these, man, is everything in the tightest spot ever, and it's just impossible to be able to turn an Allen head, like, you know, the rounded ones, with gloves on. They're always like this big, and there's like this much room. Turbo's done, all bolted up, everything, all the lines are rerun. Hopefully I didn't fucking miss anything. All I got left is the return pipe, which is in a prick of a spot as usual with one of these. Everything's in a prick of a spot. So we'll get that on, and then just bolt back down the PCB, and then that's it. Wait for some coil packs. Test out the catch can on the rear outlet. See how we go with that. See if it loses any oil into that or not. Yeah, diagnosing. It's great fun. Just doing stuff just to figure something out is like a pain in the ass when it comes to something like this. I don't have all the right tools for it, but I'll make it work with what I got and just do it old school. So, but I will be buying a smoke machine. It's good for boost leaks, trying to find boost leaks and lots of other stuff. So we're getting one of them. Sick of rolling around on the ground, so hoist is probably on the list too, eventually. Yeah, it is what it is. Got what I got at the moment. Since these are in such a prick of a spot, the drain, so the turbo drain just connects to the hard pipes. These clamps are just ridiculously useless, especially trying to get in there with a pair of pliers to pull them apart. And anyway, I'm going to swap out these clamps with a set off my BA Windsor.
What?
Because I don't need them right now, and I'm out of all my spares in my spare drawer, so we're going to steal these two. It should make it a bit easier. I mean, there's not much pressure there or anything. It's not a pressure line, it's just a drain. So I don't need them to be that tight. And this will get new clamps and stuff anyway for it. So for now, this will do, and this is impossible to pull off with my left hand.
That's what she said.
Oh, there we go. Gimme. Alright, let's get these off, and then we'll whack this in. They were too small, so we're going to steal some off the barrel. We've got two right here. That's alright. Alright, so it's in a prick of a spot. I'll have to get them all tightened up. I don't think I'll be able to get this to sit anywhere. Probably not. Get this out of the way. Alright, got it on. Just set it down a little bit. Oh, there we go. And we want to go the other way a little bit. Let's try and get it centered a bit better. There we go. Alright, now tightening up. All that shit there's just from undoing all these oil feed and coolant lines for the turbo. It's actually pretty clean and dry under here. Oh, it was. So much easier. I wouldn't have even been able to get the pliers up in there for them clamps. They were so wide. I wouldn't have been able to open them wide enough in between all these pipes and block and stuff. So this was so much easier. God damn it. You need to come back a bit. As I said though, it's not pressure, it's not a pressure line, it's just a drain, gravity fed essentially. So it's not like there's going to be any pressure on the pipe, but they will seal it. Alright, that's that done. Now we've got a few plugs in here to plug in. There we go. One up here. One. Then we got that one. There. So that's all of them plugged in. I think that's everything from the underside besides the intercooler piping now. I will go through and just double check all my bolts. I'm just looking to see if we've got anything else. I know this clips in somewhere around here. So it's not hanging down there. And that's one of the plugs for it. Oh god, I actually can't remember where it was clipped. Actually, I think it was clipped onto this one here. I reckon that would be it. And then there's another clip up there for that. Alright. All okay down here. Part 7. Alright, so we're going to bolt the PCV back down. 10 Torx bits for it. Now, before I even consider tightening them, I'm going to chuck them all in, get them all wound all the way down nearly. Because what I've noticed on this, there's a lot of play and movement. So even once they're all in, still move it a fair bit. I'll get them all in. Whoops, I don't know why the tolerance is so much between the holes, but that's just be an Audi thing. Right, so they're in, and that's the movement you get. So you get a fair bit. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, the tolerance on the holes, they're pretty wide, so I don't know why you get so much movement, but I'll do them up and I'll sort of pick the middle to a point. There was a bit of resistance in this bolt. Not sure if it went in properly. Coil pack plug in there. Right. That's alright. And I'll just keep working around it. Try and get it all even. Missed that one. I'll start cranking down now. Just talking it up by feeling. A couple of ugga-duggers.
How original.
Not too many. The seal sticks out a fair bit, so don't need to go that tight. It should compress enough, just with a bit of tension on the bolts. Should be more than enough. And this is where a smoke tester would come in handy and blow it all through. And if it was leaking, you'd see it coming out of the seal somewhere around here. So we'll be getting one. There's a couple I'm looking at, just trying to find reviews on them. Alright. Yeah. Alright, leave all this off and we'll run try and set up the catch can. Gasket. Well, I should give that a bit of a wipe. Alright, whack that on. That first one I picked right on key. That never happens. Oh, why is everything in such a tight ass spot? Yeah, nice. Got a heat shield in the way. So some of these Audis I've read they've got a few different PCV setups. Most of them run, from what I've found, a check valve in the piping that goes to the compressor housing so that oil doesn't get past. This one didn't. This was just a straight hose, nothing in between it. It just has the check ball in here for it. So just to see how we go, we're going to run the catch can between that. And we'll see if it fills up. Hopefully it does. Then it's just a simple PCB replacement. Bob's your own. Alright, now I'll have to angle this the right way. To be honest, I think it's going to work out pretty easy anyway. On the way it is. Under that. And with this tab, I'll just mount that there with cable tie. It's only temporary, so mounted good enough. So now we'll put the intake piping on, plug in the math sensor and everything else. Which way did you go? Check the alignment before tightening that down. And I didn't check the clearance issues with the catch cam, but it looks like it'll be tight fit, but it'll be alright. This should just stop down there. Anyway, that's what we want. Right there. Plug all the solenoids back in and the rest of the loom. Whack the dud coil back in. So we ordered a new one, got an NGK in there because the front one, another cylinder one went bad and died. And then a day after driving, cylinder 2 died. So now we've got 2 down. This is pretty low Ks, I think it was like 130-ish or something. So I reckon they're all about to go. I don't know what their lifetime expectancy is on these, but I'm going to guess that if 1 and 2 died within a week or so of each other, the other 2 are going to go. So we ordered a full set, so we'll have 2 spares. Not that they're probably going to last long, because yeah, it was just misfiring. And on the tool, it said that cylinder 1 was down, and I done a check and switched them around, and it definitely followed the coil pack each time I switched it to a different cylinder. So that's all there, right? So is that. You need to go over there. And small clip come off on the hoses. Try and put everything back on. It's a good habit to get into as well. Like, sometimes when you put a car back together, you have a bolt left. I'm usually the person that, if it's a personal build, I'll just go, here. It's alright, it probably wasn't important if I didn't put it back in. But on something like this, I'll go through, if I get to the end of this, so say I put everything back together and I had a bolt missing, I'd spend as long as it takes trying to figure out where it went, or if I got one mixed up. It is, in fact, a pain in the ass when you pull something like this apart and there was already a bolt missing, don't realise, and then you go to put it back together and you spend half an hour scratching your head going, where's that bolt gone? I swear I didn't lose it. It actually happened on this. One of the pipes had a holder or a bracket to hold the pipe against the block down the bottom. I couldn't remember undoing it, and it didn't have one there, so I spent a good 20 minutes going, what's going on here? So I put another one in anyway, because I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say someone's already had this turbo off and replaced it, because it is in decent condition. Whether it got rebuilt, I don't know, but I really do reckon that someone's already had it all off. Yeah, always try and put the bolts in, all of them. Nothing worse than having bolts left over and shit not bolted down properly. So that's all good. always like to double, triple check everything, especially before starting. I don't know how many times I've forgotten to do an oil line or a drain, and you just start it, and then you hear all this shit coming onto the ground because you forgot to put on a hose down the bottom. Shit's leaking everywhere, spraying all over the engine bay. Just take that extra 5 to 10 minutes to just check everything over before you do the start, especially when doing something big like this, like pulling off a turbo. You got lines everywhere, you got hoses, you got clamps, you got bolts. Shit, it's just easy as to miss. So you wanna just check it all over. Saves you paying for a big mistake when you start it and you just let it run for a while and you didn't realise that all your oil's just going on the ground. And then you hear knock, knock, knock.
Knock, knock.
I haven't had that happen yet. Knock, knock, knock I've had, but not from that.
Sure.
Hopefully. That looks like everything's done there. All I've got left is intercooler piping. I'm not going to worry about, I was going to pull the intercooler out and the cooler piping, flush it all out, all the oil that's in there. But realistically, there's a fair bit in there, it's not flowing. So to start with, I'll make sure my catch can's empty. I'll leave the intercooler piping for now. Because really, if there's oil going to get back in there, there's no point in me scraping it all out, cleaning it out, and it's not easy to get the cooler out of these. So I'll leave it all in there, and as long as this fills up, whether a bit gets through or not, at least then I'll know that this bad boy is toast. So I'll replace that, and then I'll clean it all out. Don't want to have to do it twice. There's no point in me doing it until I find the issue. But this will tell me when it's full, or if I get a fair bit in there with a short drive, I know that's definitely the issue, and that's what's blowing it into the cooler pipe. So, yeah, we'll see how we go. Alright, now especially when you pull off the turbo, or any of the pipes connected to the feed, etc. It's always good to, if you've drained it or it's been unplugged for a while, you always want to pull the fuse for the fuel pump or the injectors, coils, etc. Just to help, so you crank it over and you help get the flow of oil back into the turbo, especially on a wet float, because a wet float runs with the oil, so sort of a balance point, the oil, wet float, doesn't run with the ball bearings. So you sort of want to make sure you get all the oil to the turbo before it runs. So I've already done that. I cranked it for a while, took the fuse out for the pump and the injectors, and just cranked it and got that flow through. So that's all good. So yeah, now we'll try and start it. It'll probably misfire that. So two. So yeah. As suspected, cylinder 2 scrap. That coil's bad. But everything's good. Nice coil. Now we'll just wait for the coil and then we can test out the catch can setup. So yeah, that'll be it now, and I'll get back to you once I get some new coil packs. Alright, so we've got the new coils have arrived for the Audi, so we're going to chuck them in. We've got 3 of them. Already bought one new one, as I said, but then another one died, so I'd say that they're all going to die. So we got NGK ones, quality, not cheapo eBay crap. So hopefully they fix that issue, put some brand spankers in there. The new one, it's been in there for like probably 10 Ks before the second one died, so I'll chuck all these in. But it was running rich for a while, so like if you come on boost and you just hold it and you'd pin it, fair bit of black smoke out the back, so it's running pretty rich. So I reckon they're probably weak spark or dying, or especially since 2 are now dead. So hopefully that fixes the overfueling issue. But I also have gotten an O2 sensor code once or twice, so by now I'd say the O2 sensor's probably gone as well, just from overfueling and burning oil and shit. It's probably no good by now. But yeah, we'll get to whacking these in. Let's do this. Alright, so we'll start by unclipping all the solenoids here. Got rid of the catch can set up and put the original breather system on. Well, the catch can's here for the rear one. We'll see how that goes now. So there's one new one. That one's dead. These two are, well, I wouldn't say they're okay, but I reckon they're probably on their way out too. Yeah, I may have broken some of the insulating shit. That's alright. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Alright, so unpackage these. Get them all out. Let's see. Four new coils. All the same. Alright, whack these in. A lot more of a tighter fit than the original OEM ones as well. Seems the rubbers are a little bit bigger. No, maybe they're the same. Just tighter fit. Worn down on the old ones. My bad. Plug in the solenoids. That's alright, I just went to start it.
Boy, here we go.
And I remembered that when I did it all and took the turbo and everything off, put it back together, everything was good. I remember stating in that video, I said, you know, go over all your bolts, check everything, make sure everything's good. Well, I did that. I didn't lay underneath. I didn't have a look until after I started and realised coolant was still flowing out of one of the braided lines that goes into the block. For the water. So I think it's in a prick of a spot too. I tried getting to it from underneath. I think I'm going to have to take the turbo back off. So we have to do that first. Alright, so that's done. I put 90 mils in each cylinder. So we'll let that soak for about 6 to 7 hours and then come back, rotate the crank and then refill. I'll do that a few times. I'll probably do it 3 times, 90 mil each time. And then we'll have a look at the pistons. One was pretty dry. The rear 3, a little bit wet. Still a little bit oily. Much better than it was. So yeah, now just gotta wait.